Welcome back to Georgia Living. I'm Chris Evans, joined by my wife, Celine.
Hi, Evans too.
Yes, you are. We've got a packed show today. We're going to talk about some community news and events, a little bit of Cobb history that you might not know, and a few homeowner tips for October. But before we do, please make sure you hit subscribe, follow along with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you're watching us on YouTube, go ahead and hit like and subscribe and ring that little bell so you get notifications every time we put out a new episode. All right. Well, Celine, we are back after yet another week off from school. Cobb County had fall break last week, so we did not get a chance to do an episode. No. But we did some pretty cool stuff. So what did we do last week? We
took the kids to the Strand Theater. I mean, we're going to talk a little bit more about this later on, but the Strand is so cool.
It is.
I think it's so great. It is something unique that we have in our backyard that I think a lot of people don't realize or they've heard of it and they just haven't experienced this greatness.
No, they haven't. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Strand because it plays a big role in a little history segment we're going to do today, along with it is part of our community news. So very excited about that. But that's not all. We also got a chance to go up to Ellijay. What did we do there?
Oh, geez. My favorite thing. Lay around.
Yeah, it was nice, right? We got a chance to disconnect for a couple of days.
Look on the mountains. Look at the sunrise. It's the little things in life, right? I mean, that was so nice. Sunset, sunrise, have a nice bath on the porch, the outdoor bath.
The soaking tub.
Because it still has that, more rural feel to it.
Yeah.
The little gas stations and the families that have been there for so long, and just the communities there are so small and so quaint, and I really like it up there. So my favorite is probably the sunrise.
Yeah.
Because I'm not tired then, and I'm drinking my coffee, and it's so nice to actually...
That's if you actually get up for the sunrise. You're probably still asleep.
When I do catch the sunrise.
It is nice.
It is so nice. Yes, he is correct. I'm a very late sleeper. We have found over the past 20 years that my body just needs more sleep than you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
That's
a hibernator.
Pretty. You're the sleeper, and I'm the dad doing all the stuff in the morning because it's easier for me to be up and functional.
I'm a zombie.
But yeah, the cabin was great. We this was our first time, so we set up a Starlink, so an internet connection up there.
So the internet in rural areas here, we're still, upgrading. The more urban areas in Atlanta. So
high-speed internet is available everywhere now.
It is. But you know how different places have different features. Like maybe 5 years ago, Google Fiber was being put into our neighborhood, and we are in outside of the perimeter.
Or in East Cobb.
And so all of Atlanta had already gotten the Google Fiber, and then we were getting it. Unfortunately, they hit our gas main, and it smelled so bad.
It was AT&T fiber.
Oh, AT&T fiber.
Google went into Smyrna, I think. AT&T went in where we were.
Okay, so it depends. But what I'm trying to say is that Ellijay is still not there to where they have Google Fiber. Yes, they have internet. They're not backwards.
There's some parts at Ellijay that has cable connection, but when you get into a mountain, like
that's anywhere. The mountains are mountains, and Starlink is just one of our options, right? Or else it's a satellite dish, and that was our first adventure with this Starlink thing. You said that there are two versions of it.
Yeah, so...
You're trying to explain this to me, and all of a sudden there's this giant white sheet-looking thing that's at our doorstep, and I'm like, what is this, right?
So there's like 3 different plans there's like international, there's roam, and then there's stationary.
How do they know you're international?
So
It goes anywhere,
the
right?
satellite knows where in the world you are.
Oh, where you're supposed to be.
So we got the stationary because it's basically going to live at the cabin. I put it out on the deck just to check everything, and we're running with 180 to 250 megabytes a second up there off of Starlink. The best part about it is you can pause the service, so you only use it when you need it. So when we're not there, which is most of the time, we're not paying for it. Unpause it when we need it, and we have high-speed internet, so we were able to work remotely from our cabin, probably the most efficiently that we've ever been able to work there.
Ever. But, the thing is that you said something about covering, clear view of the sky. So if you go down the mountain a little bit more, there are plenty more trees. We have a little clear-cut area, but so does it work for those people?
It does.
Really?
So I did a little trial test before we went up there because I wanted to make sure everything worked. Yeah. So I set it up at home in the driveway, and we have, there's houses on each side, and then it's got, there's a bunch of trees. So it had, pretty obstructed view of the sky, and it was pulling 50 megabytes a second.
Oh.
So it was, you're able to use it in low coverage areas and high coverage areas, but the more open view of the sky you have, the better your speeds are going to be.
That's really useful because, a lot of people, when COVID happened, a lot of people became remote workers, and that has decreased, to today. But there's still plenty of people who, that was the number one problem, is that internet connections, right? Because a lot of work happens on the internet, and the homes didn't support that. But with the Starlink, it's pretty much you can go anywhere.
We've had a few situations in properties that we've lived at where internet was tough.
Yeah.
When we were in North Carolina, and then at the cabin, because when we got internet at the cabin, and according to the company, it was DSL internet. That was what was available on our mountain. But the run from the bottom of the mountain to the top of the mountain where we were was so long that it was like being in 98 again on dial-up. So they installed it, and then we immediately canceled it. It was so bad.
Is it kind of like
and we've just used cell phones since.
like Morse code telegraphs?
Do you remember when it used to take you like 39 days to download like one music file?
I didn't download files.
It was like that, where the computer would give you the estimate of how long it's going to take you to download this. 39 days, 650 years basically.
You waited that long?
No.
I just went out and got the CD.
No. I lived in the Napster era.
Did you ever make me a mixtape?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't remember one.
I might have. I wouldn't put it past me. I think I did.
No.
I remember putting Cake on a CD, and I never listened to Cake, really. That was like you.
You did.
I made you a
me
mixtape. Yeah.
Oh, you're one of those guys.
Well, you mean a product of
the 90s and the 80s.
being born in the 80s? Yeah.
Yeah, you just have to have a stereo.
But we had a great trip. We were able to work. I put 2 properties under contract while we were in Ellijay. I had to come down one night and do some tours in Cherokee County.
It's really not that bad.
No,
though.
it's not bad at all.
If you really like that, rural feel, Atlanta and the suburbs are becoming a lot more accessible. There are a lot more things going on, and that perimeter is growing. Yeah,
there really are. And one of the cool things was that, we came back, and then we went to, we got some great sunsets. We got the Starlink set up. We didn't get to stop by the apple orchards while we're up there. So I really wanted to make my second trip and re-up on apples because we were up there about 3 weeks ago, and we're already through them. Like, we got a bunch of them. They're gone.
There's more than one location, right?
I know, but like,
So there's the Big Red Apple Barn. That's pretty iconic. But, a lot of people stop there because there's more than just apples. There's actually the handwritings and I think they have the cannon where you can shoot the pumpkin or the apple?
I haven't done Red Apple Barn for the you pick, so I don't know.
Anyways, there's a gift store, with apple bread, cider donuts, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But there are other locations too. So I believe there's a panorama there, and then there is another. That one, Panorama, is huge.
Yeah, that's like a shopping destination.
It almost feels as though it's a Cracker Barrel food version. What do you think? Farmer food version of Cracker Barrel. There's all these like fresh corn ears and like all this variety of stuff. Bins of stuff around there.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's very country feel, and it's very I really, really like it. And
it's the Orchard and Farm Market. So Panorama is a market. So when you go to Panorama, it's kind of like if you were to turn a farm into a grocery store. Mm-hmm. That's the best way I could describe it, because you've got different segments. You've got lots of produce. You've got your can section. They've got the candy section. They've got the little toy section. But then, BJ Reese Orchards is up there. That's the one that we went to where I got to shoot the apple cannon. That was BJ Reese. Mercier Orchards is in Blue Ridge. They've got, I know that they have the cider section and the wine section.
You are such a cider person.
I know where the alcohol is. It's in my DNA, being Irish, I guess. I don't know. No, I just have a memory, because we went to Mercy Orchards, and I remember learning about meads when we went there.
That's when opposites attract.
They do.
I don't drink much at all.
I don't drink much anyway.
My nose itches. Oh my gosh. Right here.
You okay?
It's itchy.
All right. So, we'd love to share some of the things that you've done over the fall break. So if you've got any photos of sunsets, apples, or, even Starlink satellite sightings, send those over. Tag me at Real Chris Evans on Instagram or Facebook.
That is the one catch-22 that I have over Starlink.
What?
Because we used to look out at the stars, and 10 years ago, you wouldn't see as much junk out there. Now when you look out there, I see these like blinky little things going beep, beep, beep all the way across the sun. And then, it's linear. So
the sky is definitely more polluted now.
There is stuff up there. And I can't see it too much from Marietta because of the light pollution, but when you go
That's how they're getting away with it. That's how that's why it's so cluttered, because most people don't even see it.
Oh my gosh.
When you get out
to the country and take a look up at the sky, because there's a lot of stuff floating around.
Yeah, the sky, it's not like being a kid. I remember, we go on camping trips, we just stare up there and see absolutely nothing forever.
Oh, and then we're twinkling, right?
Yeah.
But now, like, your eye catches the motion. So you look at these twinkling stars, but then there's this red twinkling light, and you're like, oh, and then it's a satellite. Just one of 10 up there, right?
Right.
So that's the one gripe I have about all of this technology, is that there's got to be some sort of limit to the junk up there.
You're just looking at the future space junkyard.
Lovely.
Yeah, right. So anyway, we've got some great things happening around the community. And coming up this October. So the State Fair just wrapped up. Foods, rides, big turnout, lots of fun. And then Taste of Ackworth we have coming up, which is October 11th. There's going to be over 40 food booths. There's going to be a kids zone, a dog show. Chalktoberfest is right around the corner. So that's on Marietta Square from the 11th through 12th. This is Chalk Art Festival. There'll be craft beer, wine tastings, just a great time to see some really cool art. Get out there and check it out. That's October 11th and 12th at Marietta Square.
Yeah.
We have Harvest Fest coming October 19th, which is going to be scarecrows, costume contest, and touch a truck. We've got Oktoberfest at Red Hare and Ironmonger with Bavarian food and music. I got to check that because Didn't Red Hair close?
Well, you gotta make
Scratch
sure of
that. All right, we're not going to mention that. Coming up next, we got the Apple Festivals in Ellijay, and that's going on all weekends in the month of October. While we're speaking about October...
Hold on. Red Hair.
I was just going to cut that out. You didn't have to bring it back in.
No, I want to discuss this. This is our show is pretty fluid and pretty live, and that's what our viewers, our listeners, know. So hold on, Red Hair, that closed on the square, and that used to be the morgue, right?
Red Hair closed last location February 14th, 2025.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's closed.
Yeah. Okay. No, you didn't hear that one.
So now I got to do a crap ton of editing.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
No.
So coming up next, we've got the Apple Festivals in Ellijay, which is going to be going all weekends, all through the month of October. I don't have it on the show notes, but while we're talking about October, if you've never been, head up to Helen, Georgia, and check out Oktoberfest. That is always going on. It's usually the last weekend in September through October, where you'll be able to go to the fest hall, have some beers, drink out of a boot, dance to some polka music, and just enjoy the great weather as all the leaves start turning in North Georgia.
So we do have to think about one thing that goes on pretty close to the Apple Fest. Do you remember the number of Jeeps you saw?
That's over. Jeep Fest has already come and gone.
Did you know it's the Sheriff's Jeep Fest?
I did. It's a fundraiser.
Yeah.
It's Jasper, I think.
Jasper, Georgia. Yeah.
Yep.
So you register. It's $100. If you want to register at the event, it's $120. Now, obviously, this is over already, but usually it coincides, doesn't it? Or did they move it? Because
I
it
try and
coincided.
stay as far away from that as possible.
The Jeeps. You are a Land Cruiser
Jeep.
person.
You know, if you own a Jeep and you use a Jeep off-road, congratulations, you're one of the few people that do. I hope you enjoy all your rubber duckies and your cute little pretend-to-be off-road vehicles that never leave the mall parking lot or Publix, maybe the soccer field, okay? You want a 4x4. We don't talk about Jeeps in our family. But it is a sight to see when you see all those ducks rolling down 515 looking ridiculous.
So I'm going to read out a description of what exactly Jeep Fest is instead of complaints against it.
It's not a complaint. They can do their cute little things.
So it was
It's fine.
started by Sheriff Donnie Craig and the Pickens Sheriff Office. Jeep Fest is an annual 3-day event packed full of Jeep obstacles, trails, mud, concerts, rides, food, and much more. All proceeds go to providing children with what they need to prosper. I don't know what that means, but yes, this is a huge event, and the number of Jeeps that we see every single year are absolutely insane. This year it was August 28th to the 31st. They had 2 events on the 28th, so it doesn't really count.
It was going on last time we went up to the cabin.
Yes, so I'm glad that they moved it away. I am looking at a photo from the past event. I thought I was looking at Georgia red clay, but there are people in it covered in Georgia red clay as well that look like mud people.
Yeah, that's a mud pit.
Lovely.
Yep. Yeah. So we got some great news coming. If you're a fan of Marietta Square, in the MDJ this morning, we got an announcement. We're getting a Ted's Montana Grill.
Hooray! Our daughter's going to be absolutely thrilled about
I can't
the
wait.
pickles.
Oh, it's awesome. So it's going to
The ones
go.
that they bring out in the beginning.
Yeah.
She gets her own. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, they don't share.
It doesn't surprise me. My middle child, my oldest daughter, she loves pickles. She can't get enough of them.
She even has a squishmallow and a pickle.
So the building, the Ted's Montana Grill, it's going to go into North Park, and the area right now that's currently known as the Goldstein Gap, which is the building that was leveled in 2010 right on North Park, kind of between Elon North and
you can't miss it.
It's the only spot where it's like, oh, there used to be a building here, but there's not now.
Yeah, you look at the side and then you're like, wow.
Yeah.
There's something not there.
So they're setting this up as a ground lease. Ted's is going to lease the land, and it'll be a ground up. It'll be a new build. So the city council has approved it. Which is nice because this has been going through motions for years now, trying to find a business to go in to fill this void. They've had proposals for building up to a 5-story building there. They've had proposals for other restaurants, breweries, but this is the one that looks like it's going to move forward, passed through the Marietta City Council recently, and was in the MDJ this morning.
So, Ted Turner got something right here. First of all, Ted Turner, is from Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
CNN guy. This is his restaurant, the Montana Grill, because he has a huge farm out in Montana as well.
I think his land, he can drive from Montana to Texas without leaving his land or something crazy like that. I heard it. I don't know if it's true or not.
Anyways, so he got the decor in this restaurant so down, like the atmosphere is so
it's
awesome.
So good.
Because
it is.
If you think about that restaurant in the Marietta Square, I really feel as though the age of the building and the buildings surrounding the square.
Yep.
And the interior of a Ted's Montana Grill really meshes well with kind of like the mood and like the atmosphere of it, because we have a lot of elements from the 1800s as well, right?
Oh, yeah.
Or the early 1900s. And that's kind of what you have, the counter and then the old maps of the terrain, as the tabletops, and then this like kind of
It's
old
definitely
Western
like,
feeling. Although we're Southern, but it's the tin ceilings, that kind of thing.
Yep, it's
cool.
definitely got the late 1800s vibe of Americana, right? Kind of the golden years into that Victorian period where everything was ornate and the future of America was untold.
Yeah,
so,
and then, the kids, they get those little wax strings.
Yep.
And they leave that wax residue on your hands.
Speaking of old things, the Strand just celebrated its 90th anniversary.
And that'll be on the same side.
They're going to be a few doors down from each other. Yeah. So the Strand's on the right corner when you're facing North Park, and the Goldstein building is kind of right in the middle where Ted's will go. So the great thing about the Strand celebrating its 90th birthday, we were there for it, and we saw the Great Locomotive Chase, which is a 1956 Disney film based off of the historical Great Locomotive Chase. And if you don't know that story, you're in for a treat, because we're going to tell it to you in a little bit here on the show today, so you'll learn a little bit of Georgia history. But it's how the Medal of Honor came to be associated with Marietta, Georgia.
Yes.
So,
and we even have a ticket from the same month as this Locomotive Chase.
That's
in
a really
our
cool collection.
Kitchen,
yeah.
Framed. It's really cool.
It really is. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But before we do, I want to give a shout out. I want to give a congratulations to our Marietta Kiwanis president, Andy Tatnall, who just completed his term of service for our community, and a big welcome to our incoming president, Ernie Wagoner. So we're excited for your year to begin, Ernie. We're looking forward to all the great deeds that you do, and you're leading Kiwanis to do for our community. If you don't know, the Marietta Kiwanis organization gives last year was 32 scholarships to local students to go to school through numerous fundraisers and giving back initiatives to our children here in Cobb County and Marietta.
And what does that have to do with the Strand?
Well, while we were there, the Strand had President Andy on the marquee because they were celebrating him upstairs. And we do.
But he works at the Strand.
Andy?
Yes.
No, different Andy. Different Andy. You're thinking of somebody else. Yes.
I see where the confusion is.
Yep. So just want to give a great shout out to President Andy. Great work, sir. And, we're here to welcome President Ernie for 25 to 26. So.
Yeah, no, y'all, you can have your baby showers, support your local economy. Like, have your, if it's a small wedding, small wedding reception upstairs. You can do all these things.
You can rent out the whole upstairs bar at the Strand.
There is space there on the square.
Rooftop.
Yes, please, support our local nonprofits. This is one of them. They keep prices very low because they are not, like a chain type of movie theater. And they do support a lot of things that are kind of dying off, like organ playing, silent films. We'll get into that, but contact the Strand.
Yeah, it's a great venue.
And don't get your tickets on Ticketmaster. Go to the website.
Yeah, always buy your tickets directly from the venue. You'll save on fees that are added in. And if you purchase from the venue, because the Strand is a non-profit, there's no tax on top of it. But if you go through third parties who are not, you're going to pay tax too. So let's see. So let's talk about the history of the Great Locomotive Chase.
Well, so this was the 90th anniversary of the Strand. And when we went to see the Great Locomotive Chase, which is obviously one of the most important stories to come out of Marietta, one of them.
It is. And when the movie premiered in the 50s, it premiered at the Strand.
Mm-hmm. And the favorite of President's accordion player was outside of the Strand at the square. He is a Georgian. I believe he lived in Atlanta. So he made the short trip up to Marietta, and he was outside playing for all these people. And you can actually see, if you can imagine a storefront with a whole bunch of people swarmed outside of there. That's what the premiere looked like.
It was Graham Jackson.
Going. Yes, Graham Jackson. He is a very prominent figure in music here in Atlanta, and he's one of ours, is Georgia. And unfortunately he has passed, but his son is still alive, and there's some interviews with his son saying, what great person he was and how he would make them practice, He just had some fond memories of that.
Graham Jackson is known because when President Franklin Delano Roosevelt passed away, he was his photograph made it to the newspapers that made the announcement worldwide. It was him playing the accordion with the tear.
Yeah,
and
I had seen that picture before.
I had too.
I did not know that was a native Atlantan.
I did not either.
And now that I know, it's like, heck yeah, right? So when we went, we were greeted by this really cool Jaguar, this antique Jaguar that was sitting right outside of the Strand. And
that
was
was pretty cool.
Wow, it's like one of those swooping designs, and then it had the spare wheel on the side kind of thing. I don't even know what to call that design.
I don't know. It would have been like, I don't know, maybe 1930s.
It's so elegant looking. And so it was parked outside. It was a convertible, so it had a soft top on. And oh gosh, everyone was looking at it because it was so cool. And then you go under the marquee into the lobby, and it's this really nice lobby that has a small concession stand, and people are mingling and talking with each other because they know each other. Right?
Yeah, everybody that was going there was kind of hanging out. Lots of community gathering before the show. And then they did something special for this show.
So it depends on the show, right? They have different things. It's not just a movie theater. It is a living and breathing venue. So what they did for this one, they opened up the doors a little bit early, and our kids were asking, you know, why are we going so early? Because they are in the generation of just stream it at home. They don't really know what it's like to go to a movie theater and have to sit
Or what a big deal it was.
quietly
Yeah.
for an hour. They're like, what's that, right? Like, scroll on your phone, do something else. No, they couldn't. They had to sit still, and I could see them squirming a little bit.
A little bit? It's painful.
Well, anyways,
times.
first stop, and all these people are volunteers too, or employees that, you know, are working for a nonprofit.
Yeah.
So cool. So you go inside and you're like, okay, what am I gonna, you know, bleed out? Am I gonna be paying $60? Y'all, this is a nonprofit. The giant cup of Diet Dr. Pepper or Coke Zero,
It's like $3 or $4.
$5. I mean, we're talking about, I can't get my hand around it.
Yeah, it's
you know,
like
it's huge. The big one at QT, right?
Yep. And then the popcorns are $3. The candies are $3.
Yeah, and they
Your
have
drinks
like,
are
the Mike and
$8.
Ike's. Right.
Yeah.
They have alcohol.
They do.
Yeah, which is not like a
Drinks are
regular
$8 each.
Mm-hmm. So, you usually get like a double of.
No, well,
I don't know.
I mean, when we're not there for kids, yeah.
Oh yeah.
For this, it was just the soda and the popcorn. The kids
Yes.
got the Mike and Ike's and the Skittles, and they loved it.
But we all got what we wanted, and it was a grand total of $30.
Yeah, you can take the
Amazing.
family out and have fun
Yeah.
for under $50. You just can't do that anywhere else, which is nice, especially since you're also teaching a little bit of history. But when for this premiere, for the Great Locomotive Chase that we saw on the 90th birthday, they had the live organ accompaniment. So coming out of the pit, you watch this organ raise up onto the stage. It was really cool, and they have a professional organist. And just watching him really play an organ was intense. Like they're moving their feet and hands, and like it's all over the place.
But the reason they do that is that's what they used to do.
Yeah.
There was entertainment before. It was like the pre-show,
Yep.
right? Like a concert.
And one of the things the Strand does is they have a silent movie series. And in the silent movie series, there's live organ that's accompanying the movie. So they're
Right.
playing the movie. The music is done in house. So that's very cool, and it's nice that the Strand actually does that. They have a slapstick comedy series coming up next year, which is it's silent film, but it's like a lot of slapstick humor. And they're shorts. They're like 10 to 15 minutes
You're
each.
talking about like Buster Keaton films.
I don't know. Andy Gaines, the
Yeah.
Strand,
Not
the
Tatnall.
Strand Andy,
Yes.
was telling me about it at a Kiwanis meeting last
Wow.
week. So
So,
I'll have to learn more.
So this is the pre-flight entertainment.
It basically is the pre-flight. It's the pre-entertainment.
Yes, and he had the cutest little toy general on his stand, in his music stand.
Oh, yeah.
That was gifted to him right before. You know, these organists are a dying breed. The organ, he gave a little history of it in the movie theater in that context. And it was that it started getting popular during like the 1920s, 1930s, and a lot of people started learning how to use this. Now, it's very similar to a piano, but imagine photoshopping a piano and then putting like 3 decks of keyboards, you know, on top of each other, and then putting a whole bunch of Star Trek Command Center buttons all over you and a big
Right?
U.
Yeah.
And there you go. There's an organ. There's like a whole bunch of silver buttons on the bottom too. So it was like he was a moving octopus with 4 arms, you know, and just like, I can't understand how you can play with your feet and concentrate with all those buttons and gadgets everywhere. And then there are cool sound effects on this organ. Like, you can press a button and it has an old car horn. we're like,
That's funny.
a whistle, like, woo, you know? I didn't know organs could do that, but yeah. So this is where the church organ came in. This is why you see so many organs for sale on Facebook Marketplace, because it was very, very popular. And as people pass and they, don't have that skill anymore, you're going to see them. So it was so cool.
Well, let's...
He played 1860 music to go along with it, because the Great Locomotive Chase is set in the Civil War era.
That's right, he did.
Yes, and so all of the selections of the music were
period appropriate. And imagine, going to a baseball game and you hear the organ, right? Just Civil War songs in that type. He was playing like old Susanna.
And the kids were absolutely
digging
it. I mean, he was going at it.
He was.
Yes.
So let's talk about why the Great Locomotive Chase is important. All right, we got a little history lesson for y'all about Cobb County and the role that it played in the Civil War, because there were this is a true story, and the events that took place here actually prompted President Abraham Lincoln to create the Medal of Honor as a way to boost morale
and say thank you.
To say thank you for work that was done on behalf of the Union, but also to try and boost morale, because the Civil War had been going on, and things were, it was a tough point in the war.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and Walt Disney was apparently a very avid train enthusiast.
Was he?
Yes, and so he really took a liking to the story because it's one of those that stuck with him from his childhood. Now, I would imagine that he was born in like the 20s or 30s, maybe earlier than that. So this story wasn't too old at that time.
Yeah, it would have been
old, right?
It would have been a relatively new story when
So
Disney was a child.
Maybe his grandfather,
maybe
could tell when it was going on, or first-hand accounts. But anyways,
so
that's why Walt Disney made it.
Well, that's great to know.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what it is. So the Great Locomotive Chase is where a group of Union soldiers, it was 23 of them, something like that.
They're
came
from
down.
Different companies, yes.
They were from Ohio, and they came down to Marietta through Tennessee. And they ventured south. They pretended to be people who were breaking away from the north to come and join the south in Atlanta. And they got to Marietta, Georgia. They stayed at the Kennesaw House Hotel, which is still right there on the square.
By the train station.
Missing one floor. It used to be 4 floors, now we're 3. But it is right there where the Marietta History Center is. So you got the museum in there.
And it was boarding and lodging at that time.
And it was a hotel.
Very, very common to have the rail line and then
the hotel's right there.
Right there where you can get off, have a very short break, and then go back on. So you didn't have to travel far.
Exactly.
Especially when you have that much luggage, right? I mean, yeah.
Where you need
sense.
like a horse and cart to carry it. So the group gets up, they board, they all get on the train heading north. And the train is going to stop for breakfast in Big Shanty. Big Shanty is now Kennesaw.
Yes.
Little Shanty is Ackworth. So when you hear those names, Big Shanty, Kennesaw.
Little Shanty. No one ever says Little Shanty, though.
They say there's roads that are Little Shanty. Like, people say it, I'm sure.
Okay. That's fine.
So when they all got different tickets so they wouldn't look like they're traveling together, they get to Big Shanty when everybody gets off, including the crew, because this is the breakfast stop for the crew. Everybody gets off.
No, honey, that's the Lacey Hotel.
What?
Yeah, so what happened was that they all were recruited by Andrews, and they all met up at the hotel at the Kennesaw House, and they boarded in Marietta. Now, Big Shanty likes to try to say that they started the Great Locomotive Chase because the general was stolen there, but they all boarded
in Marietta.
in preparation in Marietta. So Marietta is actually where it started.
The Kennesaw House is Marietta.
Yes. But what happened was that they boarded the Kennesaw House, and when they got to Big Shanty, Kennesaw is north of Marietta on that line. So they were headed up to Chattanooga. When they got to Big Shanty, that was the 15-minute break that the train would stop there for that people to go. Now that was a different place. That is called the Lacey Hotel.
Oh, I didn't say what the stop. They stopped in Big Shanty, which is Kennesaw.
Yes, and it's the Lacey Hotel.
Okay, at the Lacey Hotel.
Yes.
And so the crew gets off along with all the passengers because this is the breakfast stop. And so when everybody's getting off, our group of Union soldiers here, they stay on the train, and they steal the train. So they start heading north. And as they're going, they have this plan where they're going to cut the telegraph wires along the way. The trouble is that this is a one-way track, and there's two-way. It's one track, and there's two-way traffic. So they have to move, and they have to be like off and pulled over for southbound traffic to come through, and they have to do this without people finding out that they've stolen the train.
Right.
So they eventually make it as far as Calhoun. They get about 87 miles
and all
north
the way
of Marietta.
They're trying to rip up the tracks, throw obstructions on to slow down people.
Yep.
But the problem was that when they stole the train, the conductor was at the Lacey Hotel and
saw them
trying to go off of the train. So he panics and runs
he chases them.
Yes, he chases them. So first of all, it was on foot.
Yep.
And obviously, a person cannot run all the way to Chattanooga.
No.
That's just impossible. We're not horses either. Horses can't even do that.
But he comes across some railway workers, and they have a push cart, which is not the ones that pump up and down like later, but they had a little stick, and it was just a cart on wheels, and they would push it forward with the stick. So then they're doing that for a while.
Like going and going.
And then, they're damaging the tracks. They have to stop and repair, or stop and move around. They're breaking the telegraph wires, so Marietta can't telegraph north to Big Shanty, and then they pass Big Shanty, and then they can't telegraph to Ackworth or to Calhoun or Dalton, wherever they're stopping, because the line keeps getting cut. But eventually, because of the conductor who kept chasing them, he eventually gets to where the southbound traffic has kind of stopped, and the general was heading north, and he doesn't steal. He kind of takes the Texas. The Texas was another train.
So it was the cart, and then he found another little train that wasn't the Texas.
Yeah, and that got him further north.
The problem is though, these are combustion engines, so they require steam.
They're steam engines.
The motion. They're steam locomotives.
So they require fuel. You got to burn it.
Haven't seen these. The fuel is on the cart, and then once you've gone through it,
you're out of gas.
You are out of gas or water to create steam, right? Because they have these giant water towers next to the line where you can refill your water reservoirs. So being chased and trying to flee and not having the goodwill of people who don't know who you are, they did eventually start slowing down, right? So at the point of having gone through the push cart and having gone through another engine that was smaller, kind of like a little tiny one, they came across the Texas that was going south.
It was a southbound freight train.
And that was on the pullover.
Yep.
So it wasn't on the main track. So it's backwards. Think about it,
yep.
Right? The butt end of this train needs to go north now. So the conductor gets off and says, I don't care. I need to borrow this because trains go as fast backwards as they do go forwards.
And the plan was that the Union soldiers were going to bridges on the way back to Tennessee, because if they were able to destroy the rail line, it would prevent troops from Atlanta coming up to Tennessee and move the battle in a more decisive favor for the Union side.
Right.
So
they get on the Texas.
Yep, they get on the Texas, and trains go the same speed backwards that they go forward, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
So they get on, and they're chasing the general in the Texas, and the Texas is going backwards. So it's facing southbound but traveling northbound. And eventually they're were
still
able
battling all these things. Like, they try to put the Union soldiers light a boxcar on fire as an obstruction.
Try to
and then
burn
they
a
have
bridge.
to get rid of that. So there's a whole bunch of stuff. You know what it reminds me of?
What?
Mario Kart, where you have the banana that you know.
Yeah. You're
throw
flinging
in the
stuff
back.
behind,
Yeah,
trying to.
so it's basically the general flinging stuff behind it, running up to Tennessee, and then this poor Texas going backwards,
Yep.
trying to get all this stuff off.
So eventually, the Texas, they get a message up the telegraph to the Confederate Army, who then. They weren't able to get the message relayed back because the line had been cut, but they were able to get a message relayed back just north of their position and send the cavalry
Finally,
south.
after many tries.
Which, between the conductor staying on the tail of the general and the cavalry coming, all of the Union soldiers scattered, and
for the hills.
They fled for the hills. They were all apprehended. About half of them were hanged.
They were hung in Atlanta.
Yep, in Atlanta. The other half were traded with the Union Army in a prisoner swap.
Lucky.
And those were the soldiers who were honored with the Medal of Honor.
Yes, newly created Medal of Honor. So this general, the general that was stolen, is visible to the public.
Right, here in
And
Cobb County.
It is at the Southern Museum of Locomotive History.
Yep.
It is right by the tracks where they stopped by for the Lacey Hotel, and it is an absolute gem and icon,
Yep.
I think, in our county.
It's in downtown Kennesaw.
And you know what? If you go there, it will walk you through more than just the history of the Great Locomotive Chase.
It's a full Civil War
It's
museum.
an entire museum full of period, things, artifacts. They have kids
Interactive
activities. It's in a kid's
telegraphs.
room
Yeah.
with like soft foam stuff.
They've got train. They've got they had a train simulator where you can drive a train.
You can do Morse code.
Yep.
You can try doing the little tappy thing, right? Because
Yep.
I've always wanted to do that. And then their gift store is really cool.
It really is.
Oh my gosh, it's got those annoying train whistles that the kids put in their mouth and then run around the house with. Yep, we've had a few of those. It's got maps, publications, even clothing to where you can dress up as a conductor there.
Yeah.
It's really cute.
It's super kid friendly. When we were younger and James was kind of a baby and a toddler, like we had a membership there. We would take him there all the time. It was his favorite place to go. He just loved going and checking out the trains and playing with stuff there.
There's one thing that we haven't done though.
What's that?
We have not gone down to Atlanta and seen the counterpart to the Great.
The Texas is here too.
The Texas is here. Now, from what I remember, and this is way back in my brain where the cobwebs live, right?
The cyclorama.
This is, 20 years ago. I believe that the Texas was not here. They brought it from somewhere else. I think maybe Chattanooga. Some sort of story like that pops into my head. I'll have to look at it later.
We'll revisit it.
But now you can go to the cyclorama in Atlanta, which is right next to Zoo Atlanta, in the Grant Park area. So downtown. And Cyclorama itself is a really cool place. It's got a giant mural of the kind of timeline history of the Civil War, and you can walk kind of around it and take a look at all this beautiful imagery of all of that. Now, war's not beautiful, but what I'm saying is the artist's imagery is beautiful.
Because it's kind of antebellum Georgia.
Well, and it's also oil painting, and I think that stuff is really pretty. So, anyways, I really like that story.
So if you're new to the area, or if you've never heard of this story, I would encourage you to dive deep into the history, because this is very important to what makes Marietta and Kennesaw and Ackworth kind of all interrelated, because we have this shared history. And yeah, as you mentioned, Kennesaw, they like to think that the Great Locomotive Chase started there, but it didn't.
But Atlanta itself is here because of the railroads.
Yes.
And that's really the main reason. Our society here really does have deep roots in locomotive history.
We do.
Whether you like trains or not. You can even go to the Southern Museum, and there is a Medal of Honor there that you can see in person. I remember that. It's so cool.
Yeah,
There's a giant wall that is dedicated to the history of the Medal of Honor.
Well, if you visit, take a picture with the general and tag us, because we'd love to share it. Mm-hmm. So we're just about here in October. We're recording this on September 30th. October is a day away. Rabbits. And we are getting into the fall season. And with the change in temperature and the change in our outdoor, our leaf situation, we're going to have some things that we want to do to our homes to keep up with everything, right? We got some seasonal maintenance things that we want to address. So as we're getting closer to Halloween and the leaves dropping, here's a few things that you want to remember. When you're done using the hoses outside, drain them fully. Cut them off at the spigot, and then inside the house, shut off the disconnect valve for your spigot, and then go back outside and open up the valve. If you're not leaking, that means that your inside cutoff valve is working fine, and you want to leave that valve open on the outside so that there's no water to freeze in the pipe.
Mm-hmm. And then we also have bibs.
And you want to put on one of the insulated hose bibs. You can pick these up for a couple of dollars at Home Depot if you don't have any, or Ace Hardware has them as well. And these are little gray boxes. They look like almost pyramids, and they've got a little rubber piece on them that you can kind of pull through.
A bowl with a rubber gasket.
It is. It's made out of styrofoam, and the way it works is on the inside, like a bell ringer, there's a little loop. That loop goes around your hose bib, where you connect your hose outside to the house, and then you just kind of pull the cord out, and it'll hold it tight up against the house.
It's a jacket.
And it is a jacket. It's styrofoam. It's insulated. It is designed to keep some of that colder outside chilly Arctic air off of the metal of your pipes. Mm-hmm. And that is one of the easiest and best time savers or money savers of the winter, because here's the deal: as we start getting into some colder months, if your pipes freeze, water expands and they burst, and the moment it bursts, guess what happens? It's not like the rest of your pipes are frozen. All that water comes rushing out into your house. And I've dealt with this on at least 4 occasions throughout my career.
Not on our house, but
not in ours.
It always seems as though it's that one weekend.
It's the one weekend
that people leave. It's not the entire vacation, because they've done the prep work. It's it'll be fine. I don't think that it's gonna freeze, and it freezes. That's when it happens.
If you travel, keep your interior temperature to 65 degrees or more. If you have plumbing that's on an exterior wall, say your kitchen, your kitchen sink is on the same wall as the window, well, you want to open those cabinets below so that warm air from the house can come in contact with your pipes. Mm-hmm. Same thing in bathrooms. Leave the door, if you don't have a vent in your bathroom, leave that hall door open, leave the cabinet doors open so that warm air from the house can get to those pipes.
So what was the fix for your 4 leaks?
The fix for the 4 leaks, well, it involved, first off, water cut off. We had to stop the water from leaking into the house.
But what was the damage that you had to fix from that one mistake?
Well, in one home in Sandy Springs, the leak was from upstairs.
Okay.
It was an upstairs bathroom on an exterior wall. The pipes froze, burst. So we had water running from a main, which is probably putting out, a few hundred gallons a minute, or I'd probably say like several gallons a minute. This saturated the house. The whole downstairs, all the flooring had to be removed. It was destroyed. It destroyed the hardwoods on the entire main level. It destroyed all the carpets in the bedrooms. It destroyed all the sheetrock. It destroyed all the paint. It was a few inches of water on the main level of the house.
Main?
Yeah. And in that was by far the worst because the water leak happened up top. So it covered every floor below.
What was the cost on that?
I want to say that was somewhere around the $80,000 mark. But fortunately, insurance covered it.
Yeah, but that's not a mistake that you want to make. You
No.
know?
What ended up happening was either there was some issue with the thermostat. I think so. You always want to have a hardwired thermostat with a battery backup if you can. So this is one of the great things about smart thermostats is they have a dedicated power source directly from your HVAC furnace. So the control board on the furnace. A lot of older thermostats, if they're battery only, the moment your battery is out in the thermostat, well, guess what? Your system stops working.
Oh my God.
So this was a vacant house.
And how would you know if you're away for that one weekend?
Well, this was a vacant house. The owner had put, they contracted with me. I wasn't managing it. I was just placing a tenant. So I had done the screening. We had the tenant approved. The tenant was going to go and move in like the next day.
Wow.
And the owner gets the property and calls me and tells me that it's like flooded. So if you have a battery-powered thermostat, make sure you're checking that battery right now before we get into the cold season.
Or
because
upgrade.
if you are going to travel at all, you want to make sure that thermostat doesn't die because of a AA battery costing you $70,000.
Can you imagine like flying over to see grandma and then flying back to a pool?
Unfortunately, it happens.
I know.
So this is how you can prevent that from happening. And that's actually a tip I don't think I've ever shared before.
I've never heard it.
It's the simplest thing when you think about it. But yeah, that is why that house flooded. It was because the thermostat battery died and it turned off the heat, so the temperature in the house dropped, and the pipes internally froze. Because I think we're like in the teens for Georgia.
The simplest things, sometimes they have to be said.
So,
Like, don't leave
Absolutely.
the stove on with the burner lit.
yeah,
Don't do it.
don't do it. So, a couple of other tips. We're getting into leaf season, right? So, if you don't have gutter guards, it's time to get your gutters cleaned. You're going to want to do this after the heaviest of the leaves have fallen through, because if you don't and your gutters get clogged, well, one of the most common areas of water intrusion, so water coming inside the house from outside, is at the foundation when your gutters are overfilled. I got to tell you, in the 15 years that I've been managing properties, 90% of the time when I get a message saying, hey, we got some water coming into the house, it's usually by the front or it's by the back. It's always the gutters. It's so rare that it's not. And
y'all, I see you, the ones that don't ever clean your gutters. I'm watching you.
Gross.
I see all those pine needles on your
Oh yeah.
roof.
We see you, and we know that if you got water damage.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go clean it.
If those gutters are getting clogged, if water's not flowing through them, then what happens is water builds up in the gutter and then comes out over the side. When that happens, water drops straight down to the ground and pools up by, you guessed it, your foundation. So unless you have a pretty steep grade of land pulling away from your house and pushing that water downhill and away from the foundation, it's going to pool up and come inside. I've had that happen at windows. I've had that happen at patios where there's no runoff. It can be anywhere, but that is the most common reason for water intrusion in a house.
And it's the
just
cheapest
pooling
thing
up.
to prevent.
It can be handled by seasonal maintenance, getting your gutters cleaned twice a year, once in the fall after all of the leaves have come down, and again in the spring after all of those storms have kind of get any sticks or debris up. So you want to do that twice a year, or get yourself some gutter guards. But if you get yourself some gutter guards, you want to make sure that the guards that you're putting on your house are, in fact, the type to protect against the types of trees that are around your house.
Trees.
Yes. I'm talking to you, pine trees.
We have a lot of them here.
Yep. And they're not very useful. But what we can do with them is make sure that we're not putting mesh guards. So the mesh, like hardware cloth type guards, if it's a very fine mesh, maybe. But the wider openings, those pine needles just get stuck in them, and they'll like stick up out of your gutters. So
They
unless
look like hedgehogs.
they do.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that the gutter guard system that you're putting on your gutters is designed for the type of debris that are going to be falling on your roof. So if you've got a lot of pines, make sure that you're getting something that the pine needles are not going to get stuck in. If you've got a lot of hardwoods, acorns, you've got, chestnuts around you want to make sure that your gutter guards are going to deflect against those things as well.
Darn sweet gumballs.
So my recommendation, I don't know gutter guards from
Oh no, we're not affiliated
anything
with anyone. Just
what I do
nice.
is I talk to my GCs. I talk to my contractors. I say, these are the trees that we have. What works best?
That makes sense.
And I just go with the recommendation. But make sure you're getting a recommendation from somebody who knows what they're talking about. Let's see. We're getting into the holiday season is coming up right around the corner. So when we're talking about some real estate tips inside your house, if you're putting your home on the market, you want to make sure it smells good.
Oh gosh, yes. I mean, even after a rain, a vacant house can smell musty.
Oh, yeah.
Be careful. I mean, if you have a house on the market, make sure that you know that it's not the stale odor there, because it can really turn off a buyer, and they might also think that there's something wrong with the house when there really isn't. Whenever we come home from a vacation that's longer than maybe, a weekend or so, we also notice like this different smell, and that's usually because the air hasn't been circulating,
Yeah.
the windows haven't been opened, there's no ventilation going on in there. So that can happen to homes on the market.
Yep.
So be very careful with that as well.
So if you're putting your home on the market, a couple of things you want to make sure. Candle season, we're doing some fire safety here. Make sure that
Don't light it and then leave it.
Don't light and leave candles. Make sure you're checking before you're leaving the house. If you've got open houses, you want to have light the candle an hour before, turn it out right after. If you haven't recently, it's time to get those HVAC systems serviced.
Change the filter.
Have your filter changed. Fun fact, one of the things that I did in Athens, because we had that filter in the house, is I would put like a dryer sheet
On our filter?
with it, and it would pull that scent in through the house.
Oh.
because the filter system wasn't actually in the HVAC.
Or if you want to sabotage someone, just put something really stinky on there, like a sock, and then leave it there.
Gross. Other fall maintenance. So get your furnace serviced. If you're gonna get your ducts cleaned, make sure you're doing that by an actual furnace company. Ask me how I know. We used a duct cleaning company. They were highly rated. They sucked because when they went to vacuum out the furnace, they nudged a set screw and made our blower fan off balance. We go on vacation and our blower fan burns out while we're gone. Mm-hmm. So that was fun. So make sure you're using a reputable duct cleaner and use an HVAC company. Have your furnace serviced. It's the time of year to do it. They'll vacuum it out. They're going to check for any carbon monoxide leaks. If you don't have a carbon monoxide detector near your furnace, do that. So you don't die. We don't want that.
Don't die.
Don't unalive yourself by something that's very, very easy. It's a $10 thing. It plugs in. It says carbon monoxide. It beeps at you if something's wrong. Mm-hmm. So October market is actually looking pretty good right now.
It is. So it's not weird, but during the pandemic, we went straight through winters because the interest rates were so low.
There were a ton of buyers.
And it was like we didn't have the seasonality. Now, this fall, it's starting to look like there's no seasonality either.
Well,
not to that degree, but
in August, our market kind of dropped off. We didn't have many transactions in the month of August. It was really, really slow.
Which is strange because, usually in August you're wrapping up the latecomers to try to get to the new school districts or wherever it is. The tail end of that season, you still have a lot of things going on, but this year it was kind of quiet.
Bleak is the word that I wouldn't say quiet. It was less than quiet.
It was silent.
It was dead. I mean, we had a few clients, but as far
dead with all this fire stuff you've been talking about.
it was a very bleak and quiet and unmoving August.
Uneventful.
Very uneventful.
Yeah. Because
what we're going to look at now is that since the Fed made their cut, we have seen a new lifeblood to the real estate market.
It's the first cut that they've made this year.
Yeah, and it's taken 9 months to do it. Mm-hmm. So with this cut, the loudness of the message makes its way to a larger number of people. And I read something a couple of weeks ago. It said every quarter point cut will put something like 500,000 people into qualification territory.
For refinancing?
For buying.
And refinancing.
And maybe refi.
Well, I mean, if you have an 8% mortgage, which I have seen, not out of the question.
I think it might be a different number if it's refis. I think this is talking about who can now qualify to buy a home.
Oh, well, either way, when an interest rate drops, you are going to have more refinancing.
Oh, absolutely.
Because these people are trying to get in a better financial position.
And I was talking to Ashley over at Mosley Finlayson Loggins last week, and she was telling me that they were staying very busy and had a lot of refis this year because rates have been coming down. So people who bought in 22 and 23 and 24, they are able to now save quite a bit of money every month.
But yeah, the new buyers, the ones that have just been stuck.
Yeah, right? So the people who are stuck either, just because they can't afford it, that monthly payment, for every 25 basis point drop, something like 500,000 people now can qualify. So it's opening doors to the market for more people to allow them to come in, which will help us move some inventory.
But that's really strange because, you and I follow the market a little bit more closely than the general public because that's our job.
Yeah.
And, for me, a lot of this has been baked in already. Right? It's been priced in to a degree because they have to. They have to try to figure out, okay, where are we? Where do you think we're headed? Let's adjust, before we get there in preparation, right?
Oh, yeah. The interest rates didn't change when the Fed made the cut because it's all, as you said, it's all priced in. Mm-hmm. They know where it's going. But I like to think of it as like the, what are those things called? Like the foghorn effect, right? It's or megaphone effect. When a local realtor makes a Facebook post and says, "Oh, rates dropped," maybe a few hundred people see it. Mm-hmm. But when the Fed cuts and makes a 25-point basis cut, and it's on ABC News and CNN and Fox News, and everyone in the world sees it.
That's when the corn farmers
and
see
people,
it. That's when the other people
yeah,
in the association got it.
So it takes that level of communication before you start seeing any seismic shifts.
Although things have happened already.
Yeah, so if you're aggressive about it, if you want to beat the market, the easy way is you follow us on social media. We'll let you know what's happening when it happens, so you can be a few weeks ahead of everybody else.
Our morning coffee is always accompanied by Bloomberg and MarketWatch.
It sure is. So I'm excited. We're in the last day of the month, so for next episode, expect us to be going through the preliminary numbers on September and what has happened in the real estate market. But we got a little bit of an update on Simply List as well. So Simply List is our transaction brokerage. If you've been following along, you'll understand that we are in real estate. Celine and I have been in real estate. I started in 2010. Celine got licensed in 2018. But in actuality, she grew up in it. So she never really joined. She never really left.
I can't remember. Well, I can remember, but I believe I was 15.
I remember when we started dating and you wouldn't let me talk about real estate because you hated it so much.
I was in the sciences and I had wanted nothing to do with it because I had heard so much already. That was the main reason.
Dr. House over here, our resident veterinarian selling homes.
Yeah,
but
real estate is the best way to create generational wealth.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, you need to know real estate. And that's what I realized. And ever since then, hey, been going at it. So
I believe firmly in that as well. That's why, I studied finance. I was a stockbroker, but here I am. Am I investing on Wall Street? A little bit, but mostly it's real estate.
Right.
We believe in owning your assets, owning your process, and with Simply List. So we have 3 companies. We have Select Realty, which is our full service brokerage. We have TOA Commercial, which is our commercial arm that handles tenant leasing and sales. And then we have Simply List, which is something a little new and a little different.
The organ player.
Yeah, it's a little different. Simply List is a hybrid way to do real estate. You have 2 options. You can sell by owner, where you are representing yourself. You're doing your own marketing. You provide the information to us. We advertise the property on the MLS, which gets you exposure to thousands and thousands of websites, from the big public portals like Zillow, Realtor.com, Homes.com, Homes.com being our preference there because they don't try and sell you to some agent who's going to try and sell you on a brokerage agreement. And then we're also going to put it out to all the major brokerage websites. So those are like your SelectRealty.coms, your Caldwell Bankers, your KellerWilliams.coms, all of the real estate websites. And then through an IDX feed, we're going to go to all of the realtor websites. So that's like your Joe Schmo Realtor.com, where you go to their website, you see their cheesy picture saying, "Hey, look at my homes."
I've thought about doing that.
It's going to show that there too.
Fun.
So it's going to be on thousands of websites, nationally and internationally, and then you get access to do that for a fraction of the price. So if an agent works for 3%, Simply List is 0.35. So it's $350 for every $100,000 of real estate that you sell. And then if you're thinking that you want to do it, you want to save some money, but you don't want to do it like that, you go the with help realm, which is $750 for every $100,000 sold. You'll coordinate the marketing and get the house ready. And when an offer comes in, Celine here is going to negotiate that contract and represent you. So you'll be able to ask those questions. You'll have the paperwork done. And
the funniest thing that I always hear from people who are inquiring about our services on Simply List.
What's that?
What's the catch? You know how many times I hear that question?
Oh, yeah.
So my answer is there really is no catch. So I work off of volume, and that's the business model. It's an a la carte system to where you have your base, and then you can add things like an open house or a super lockbox.
Or professional photography.
Or professional photography. And the reason why we do this is we work with a lot of investors. And when you invest in a house, you use a lot of your capital because you're trying to make it the best product to bring in the most money. Now, the last thing that they think of, unfortunately, is going to be your commission to the agent to sell it. Now that's where I come in, right? Because they are pretty well versed on what the home is worth, what they've put into it.
Mm-hmm.
They have a good grasp of it. And if you are a flipper, you've done this many times to where you already know what the contract is, but unfortunately, you're not a licensed agent, you're a builder, you don't have those forms, and you don't have a license to get on the MLS. And that's where I step in. Mm-hmm. So you can do whatever you want. That 0.35% is what you owe at closing, nothing up front, because that's our guarantee that we won't list you and then forget about you because we already did our job, and then, who cares? No, we get paid at closing.
And it doesn't matter how long it takes you to list. There's no upfront fees for listing, so you can list for free. You could start a contract. You could have a property listed for years for free. We have people who have done that. Mm-hmm. But most of the folks that list with us want to sell their home, so they're going to list it, and then they'll make their price adjustments until they find a buyer.
And I don't charge for those price adjustments like some other websites do. I mean, it's if you want to decrease your price, sure. Let's work together to get this sold. So it's very good hybrid system where the home seller can have a little bit of control.
Yes.
And also have the tools that they need when they don't have a license, right? So I've found that a lot of people like it. Do I get all investors? No.
No, as a matter of fact, over the last year, I've noticed that we have more home sellers than investors right now. And I think that that's because with this run up in prices and then some flattening to the appreciation the last couple of years, it hasn't gone up as fast. We've only had like 1 to 2% growth. The sellers are using Simply List to try and maximize their profit out of equity.
I agree.
We have had a lot of people who have come to us to list homes that they have to sell, but they've only owned it for maybe a year, 2, 3, and there hasn't been that much growth. So by using Simply List, they can kind of free up some of that expenses to either sell at a lower price where a buyer's going to do it, or to put some work into the house and be able to walk away with the same amount of money.
Yes.
So
the second question that I get asked most often about Simply List is, do you list on FMLS? That is a huge point, y'all.
And yes, we do.
So I need to explain, because this is also a common thing that people don't understand.
Yeah.
The MLS is just an overall word to describe a listing system.
Mm-hmm.
Here in Metro Atlanta, we use 2 main ones. Okay, that's going to be Georgia MLS, and then one is going to be FMLS.
Georgia's statewide.
Yes, and then first MLS is FMLS, which most of, if not majority, of the Metro Atlanta agents use FMLS. So that means that if you are anywhere near the perimeter, and absolutely if you are inside the perimeter, you want to be on FMLS. If you go with a different company that only puts you on Georgia MLS, that will not benefit you as much as it will being on both Georgia MLS and FMLS.
Consumers will see it, but agents won't.
Correct, because the agents who are looking are not looking there.
Agents that are in Metro Atlanta, their primary search is FMLS. So if you want them to see it in the searches that they're setting up for their clients, and you want them to see it in the searches that their clients will see it online. But if the agent is saving a search with the MLS and those clients are getting emails and you want your listing to be included in that marketing, your property needs to be on that MLS as well.
Yes. And that's not saying that we don't like Georgia MLS, because we do.
No, we love Georgia MLS. Shout out to Mike. Hey, guys.
Yeah.
Hope you're all doing great.
They are great. But it's just that, so it's free to use Georgia MLS.
It's not free.
Well,
with Georgia MLS, agents pay a monthly fee, which it's in their dues, so they're used to it. FMLS, however, doesn't charge a monthly fee to agents and brokers. They charge a percentage of the sales. So we get free membership to FMLS. We can use everything that they want and offer us, but when we close, we pay a small percentage of the sales price to FMLS.
And that is why these other companies don't want to do FMLS, because they
Exactly.
don't want to pay that.
So if you're looking at other alternatives similar to Simply List, but they're offering, $100 to list or $200 to list, and that's all the fees that they're charging,
Be suspicious.
guess what? They're only putting you on one of the MLSs. You're not going to have access to the same marketing power that you would if you were with Simply List. That's the one, the only, that's all you got to know about. And then secondly is, if you choose to sell in this route and you want to use Simply List, we've got a brand new ordering process. Our website has just been overhauled. We've got a lot of work into this to make the experience for you as great as it possibly can, and there's still work ongoing, but because we never stop. But we've
photos.
We've
right?
added professional photography. We've added the same level of marketing for signage that we use on our full service listings. We've added the fact that you can now do up to 100 photos on your MLS listing for any sale listing. We don't do that on the rentals. But if you want to learn more about this, head on over to simplylistatlanta.com. Again, simplylistatlanta.com, where you can learn how to list your house, saving thousands of dollars. And if you ever get stuck, just know that there's always the upgrade option. You can go from without help to with help, from with help to full service, and we're going to be by your side the whole time. So again, simplylistatlanta.com. If you haven't already, please make sure that you like, subscribe, share, leave us a review, follow us, shout us from the rooftops, tell us that we're your favorite, tag us in your photos, share things and stories about our community, and all other things Georgia Living Podcast.
Yeah. Our number is 678-694-7937 if you want to get in touch with us.
Yep. You can text with news, events, or little history nuggets. If there's any stories that you'd like to hear on the show, tell us about it, and we'll share it. All right, y'all. This is another episode of Georgia Living. We appreciate you staying with us, and we'll be back next week.